Hi everyone, I am back after 5 years. It's been a long time, but I'm Natasha. If you haven't seen any of my videos, they're just down below and they're mostly about my infertility journey. So I'm just gonna carry on in that style for this video. So today I will be talking about endometriosis. Now endometriosis, it's very, very common. It's called also an invisible illness. In some words, I will try to explain, but this video is not just explaining the endometriosis as a term, it's more like how I live with this condition, when it was discovered to me, what were the symptoms, and so on. So let's get started. So endometriosis is a chronic condition where tissue that is similar to the lining of uterus grows elsewhere in your pelvic. So basically it can grow on your ovaries, your fallopian tubes, kind of elsewhere, but also it can connect your different organs. So this tissue responds to the menstrual cycle, causing inflammation, pain, in some people severe pain, and also heavy bleeding. I feel like it's many symptoms that can show, but just to name the few, like I said, it's heavy bleeding, pain, it can be abdominal pain, low or high, either way. It's severe bloating, it's a painful intercourse, and so on. These are just some of the ones that would kind of pop up if you would get interested and read about it all. So to start it off, I kind of like a little bit of history, maybe that can kind of help as well. Growing up, I saw my mom suffering severely from her periods. Now, watching that, I feel so sad and sorry for my mom, but I actually didn't know if that could be normal. And then when I started getting my period, I didn't get that. I got some of that, but not a lot of that, which then it meant, oh my God, like that is normal. That's my normal. That's how it's gonna be for me. Okay, that's not good, but it's not as bad as my mom's. Then kind of in my 20s, talking very early 20s, even maybe before, my symptoms were different than in my 30s and now beginning with my 40s. So in my 20s, mostly I suffered from heavy bleeding, very long bleeding days, I would say 7 to 8 days of my menstruation, which is a long time. I kind of suffered from bloating before the period and then after and during ovulation. But I also experienced very painful intercourse at times, which I was told that's normal too. And it wasn't, because it was very painful. So it's many things that just didn't feel right. And then what else didn't feel right is when I did go and see a specialist, it was mostly like, okay, well, it's nothing we can do, or there is nothing wrong with you. But essentially, I was dismissed a lot of the times, as I'm sure a lot of you are, because I've heard so many stories. So what was frustrating is that like every time when I would do that, I almost felt a bit guilty of why did I go? And my parents think I'm lying, my teachers think I'm lying, my friends think I'm lying. You just kind of question yourself, like you should never, because that is like your life. That's your everyday life that you're living. And you kind of want to know and you want to address it. But that didn't happen. So then in my 30s, that turned differently. I was getting pregnant and I was excited and I was happy. And then I lost multiple pregnancies. And then all that sadness and effect, it just kind of joined into one big, what is happening to me? It's annoying. I need someone to tell me. I researched a lot for years, even prior to that, and I thought I would have had endometriosis. Also, my mom's symptoms kind of drew me into all of this too, thinking, oh, that's so sad that like she never got believed. Throughout my fertility, you know, time in my 30s, since I was 32 to like till I was 38, even 39 potentially, no one has once ever mentioned word endometriosis to me, which I feel like it's crazy because one is being outside fertility world and then one is being in it and being diagnosed with, you know, like nothing. It was very, very hard. So me trying to tell the specialist, but I think it might be that, I'm experiencing this, I'm experiencing that. It was all kind of brushed. It was like, you know, there's nothing we can find, there's nothing we can do. Then I started doing IVF treatments and I had few unsuccessful ones, but the point of that was that after the last one, I felt significantly worse than I ever felt. So that was 2017, 2018, where all of this pain that I mentioned in my 20s was way more painful. So it was painful almost like everywhere. Also, like I was severely bloated for most of the time. It wasn't just like my period or just before. It was like 10 days before my period, a week after my period, during my ovulation, you know, pain, bloating, severe back pain. Like that I never really heard before. Massive periods, long periods, extreme nausea. So I had all of these symptoms and I feel like they happened not overnight really, but kind of straight after my second fertility treatment. And then I started questioning, I was like, okay, but like, what can it be? Like, I'm sure now I have unexplained infertility, which means that could be one of the explanations why. And then again, I was never told. So I started writing down my symptoms, but I also started writing them down in the month. And I started being like, you know, coming to my specialist with the notebook, with a paper, and this is what I think. And finally, after year and a half of, I mean, after 8 years, but a year and a half of me intensely and persistently being like, I need this to be diagnosed for me. So we've done scans, we've done MRI, we've done blood tests, we've done all these things. Now, like, what is left for me to do? Because my quality of life is affected. My everyday activities are affected. My work is affected. My sleep. My thinking is affected, like everything. So, and I came across a specialist who sat me down and said, okay, I think you could be right, but like it's difficult to get the surgery and maybe we can start with some hormonal therapy. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm not taking therapy for anything until I know what I have. Then we went surgery route. I had laparoscopy, I think between 4 to 6 months after that conversation. And going into, I was really scared, as I'm sure a lot of you are, because a lot of you, including me, went in that space without knowing that we actually do have that condition. So it was a little bit scary. But after the operation, after I woke up, the doctor came to me and said, you know, you were right. Like, this is what you were living with. And now you can start figuring out how you want to, you know, proceed. And anyway, all of these things. And I was like crying so hard because finally someone has proven that I wasn't, you know, lying, that I wasn't exaggerating, that I wasn't not sleeping because I have problems with sleeping. I don't have ever problem with sleeping. and, you know, all other diagnoses that they thought it is. So from that moment on, I decided to take this into my own hands as much as I could. I knew I'm going to try my best because I knew there's no cure. I knew it's chronic. I know after the operation the tissue grows back. So I needed to make some amends to just my everyday life, really, like the way I eat now, what I exercise, what I do, how I see things, how I approach them. Just everything has changed for me. But, you know, the most important thing for me was like that everything that I felt for so many years, it's finally like been discovered, and now I can move on. That's exactly how I seen it, and I'm very grateful that I had an opportunity to had that surgery, had that laparoscopy procedure done. It was done 2019 in April. I remember it like it was yesterday. Yeah, that is the story of like my endometriosis journey and what I learned along the way, and all of the stuff that I didn't know and I learned myself. And I feel really proud of that. I also feel good about maybe making this video for you guys so you can also see that, you know, if you've been dismissed, then it's because they don't know, didn't have enough knowledge. So not because you're lying or because you're making things up. Like, why would you make things up every day or like 15 days in the month? Like, that's ridiculous. So yeah, I hope this video helped some of you. I will also write down like my symptoms, my journey down, so you can kind of see. And it would be really interesting to hear if any of you are experiencing the same. What is the journey like for you? What stage are you at? Is it quicker today to kind of be able to get any of these treatments going? I know we're all moving forward and things are getting better, but I still think it's very backwards. It is illness that 1 in 8 women in the world have. Like, when I think about it, why do we need 7 to 8 years to like discover it? It's crazy to me. It's not even rare. So, but yeah, hopefully people will be more aware, people will be more understanding, talking like your family, your friends, your colleagues at work, your workplace. Yeah, thank you for watching this video. Have a really nice day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.